Hi everybody. I'm going to be reading my paper for my submission for our final project. As a society, we esteem close personal relationships as a fundamental characteristic for building a happy, healthy life. We are created for relationship. The personal connections that we value so much are essential to our makeup and to our well-being. We are facing rapid and radical shifts to our social patterns due to the use of digital technology. This is causing researchers, teachers, and families alike to examine the changes and try to understand the impact they are having on our physical and mental well-being, our social structures, and our future generations. As a result of the digital revolution, close personal relationships that we value so much are at risk. Can we preserve them? Is it already too late? These are the important realizations and subsequent questions that have surfaced for me throughout the entire study. From Sherry Turkle's book and all the crazy examples of virtual life, confessional sites, and young people not knowing how to communicate in person, to Paul Miller, a successful entrepreneur and writer who had to abandon his primary media to find himself. The human race is in a state of flux. We are riding a wave of unknown consequences. The scientific community is scrambling to draw conclusions and offer direction. I want to insert a disclaimer here that takes into consideration our current COVID-19 status and the impact it has had on maintaining our relationships. I am more than thankful for the opportunities digital communication has afforded me during this time. As the days drag on, I am feeling more isolated, so I look forward to my online connections more and more each day. But in the end, these current circumstances are actually reinforcing my ideas that I need to place limits on my digital interactions and be all the more purposeful about prioritizing in-person connections. The loss of face-to-face interactions has heightened the need to preserve them. Communication and relationship development via digital means are part of the current culture. There are many benefits to connecting online, and there is no doubt that this trend is continuing along that direction. Times have changed, and we will change with the times. However, there are scientifically proven benefits to face-to-face personal interaction that we are at risk of losing, and we don't want to lose them unwittingly. Paul Fairfield, in Pareto's book, Social Media and the Brain, takes up the idea that nuances of personal in-person relationships, though extremely valuable for understanding one another, are going by the wayside right under our noses, unawares. Fairfield attributes these social changes to the formation of new habits. In this case, the habit is our use of technology. The idea is that we have developed and continue to develop habits related exclusively to the use of our phones and computers. The high level of habitual behavior in this arena is demonstrated by the unprecedented increase in our ownership and use of our smartphones and our use of Google and Facebook over the last decade. Fairfield refers to the observations made by Marshall McLuhan. McLuhan observed that any changes to medium, a medium being any extension of ourselves, which in this case would be our phones, affects change in us. The point is that these habits are not only creating changes in our behaviors, they are creating changes in our awareness and our very experience. McLuhan follows this progression to the next level by stating that the way we are utilizing technology these days is not only altering our daily habits, which we know, it is impacting our awareness and our experience, which we are understanding, but now those changes in turn are having an effect on our patterns of thought and valuation. So this, to me, is the crux of the matter. Our patterns of thought, the very way we process information, is being altered. The way we determine value is also being altered. These changes will have an effect on how we consider the value of life itself, how we consider people, time, relationships, and all aspects of human existence. We are and will continue to look at the world through technology-colored glasses. Based on the time spent engaging in the medium, it is apparent that we as a culture are moving towards valuing online interaction above interpersonal interaction. We are subconsciously reinforcing our new pattern by placing a higher value on it. This value is measured in time, interest, and money. The opposite effect is a reduced value placed on face-to-face interaction. This leads me to Susan Pinker's TED Talk and the beauty of close family ties and prioritizing caring for one another. In her talk, she makes a stark transition from her discussion of the positive effects close personal relationships and frequent social interaction have on well-being and longevity to the negative consequences of an inordinate amount of time spent online. She cites that in 2017 we were spending more time online than any other activity, including sleep. We were up to 11 hours a day. I wonder where we are today. She asked the question, does it matter? What is the difference between interacting in person and interacting on social media? Her answer is telling. The difference includes what she calls a cascade of neurotransmitters that are released by in-person connections. She likens the effect to a vaccine that protects you now and well into the future. She goes on describing how our bodies release oxytocin when we make eye contact and touch. This reduces stress and is good for our hearts. Dopamine is also generated. It reduces pain and makes us feel better overall. The essential elements of human interaction are in fact simple acts of kindness, whether in person or on social media. However, our ability to be present and model the qualities of caring for one another in person, engaging with one another, listening, and investing in one another in person is priceless. We need to find ways to preserve these characteristics. We can offer time, vulnerability, empathy, compassion to one another. We can share in one another's greatest moments and stay close as we walk through the valleys. When we weather the storms of a difficult relationship, we take the opportunity to invest in the other person. The prize at the end is wisdom and strength. These are the essentials of in-person interaction that we cannot afford to abandon for our online substitutes. This study has heightened my awareness of the value of my close personal relationships as well as my daily social interactions. I will no longer take even the simplest human interaction for granted. I believe I will be a better person for it. I will be more careful with my words. I will be more generous with my time. I will treasure the people and the time that I can spend with them. Instead of viewing our time together as just an opportunity to connect and catch up, I will view it as a life-enhancing exercise to be preserved and modeled for my peers, my children, and anyone within my sphere of influence. Thank you.